Let's get more on the Trump administration's new ceasefire proposal. I'm joined by our America's editor, John Lyons. Hi there, John. What detail is there in this new plan?
Well, Lorna, Steve Witkoff, President Trump's Middle East advisor, has talked a short time ago about being on the precipice of a possible agreement, saying that there is wording being worked out, suggesting a ceasefire coming soon. So we've had many false dawns, of course, with ceasefires in terms of Gaza, but he indicates there is some possible movement there. And this comes at a time when in Israel itself, of course, at the very top levels of politics, it's becoming very bitter, the discussion about the war. We saw the other day that former general and opposition leader Yair Golan said that leaders of one of the opposition parties said that a sane country does not wage war against civilians, does not kill babies as a pastime. Now, he was attacked within Israel for that. Benjamin Netanyahu described it as an outrageous incitement. He appears to be walking back from that, saying that he wasn't talking literally. However, another former Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, described Golan as a brave and direct man. And meanwhile, another former Prime Minister, Ehud Olmert, has come out very strongly and attacked the Heritage Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu's Heritage Minister, Amichai Eliyahu, who said the other day that the people of Gaza should be starved. And Ehud Olmert said, "What is it if not a war crime? How can a serious person representing the Israeli government spell it out in such an explicit manner that we should starve Gaza, that there should be no supply of basic fundamental humanitarian needs?" Let's have a listen to what Ehud Olmert said.
The statements made by the senior ministers of the Israeli cabinet that we should starve Gaza and that all of Gaza, all of the people that live there are terrorists and therefore they are Hamas and therefore they deserve to be liquidated. These statements are war crime statements. And the people that are killed in the framework of an illegitimate war are victims of war crimes.
It's interesting, John, isn't it, when you hear these senior figures speaking out like this? It's been notable, though, that President Trump has not really said very much on it of late. He's left it to Steve Witkoff, as you say. Do you think his attention is now away from what's happening in Gaza?
The reports here, Lorna, are that President Trump is disturbed by the pictures coming out of Gaza. We're all seeing these pictures of starving children, you can see their ribs from lack of food. For 70 days, many of these children barely had any food or water or medicines. The BBC recently reported 6 babies freezing to death because there were no blankets. Clearly, anybody but the most hardline supporters of Israel concede that this is a humanitarian crisis of historic proportions. And I think President Trump, it appears his relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu is not very good at the moment. And it appears that President Trump's view is that the war must end, enough is enough. And I think that's why Steve Witkoff is saying in the last few hours that we are on the precipice of finding a resolution. And I suspect that President Trump's going to really put pressure. It's clear President Trump's put pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu. He confirmed today that he had pressured Benjamin Netanyahu not to bomb Iran. He made that quite clear, President Trump. And I think President Trump is also saying to Benjamin Netanyahu, from what we're hearing here in Washington, enough is enough.
Just one final thought, John, and that's on the UN Security Council, the United Nations, appearing to be rather impotent in this at the moment. What will their next move be?
Well, Lorna, we saw it again today. The UN Security Council had a meeting, same old story. all the countries, America and Israel in lockstep, essentially saying it's all the fault of Hamas, who of course committed the October 7 atrocities. All the other countries are saying on the Security Council, we don't for a moment, most of them are saying we don't for a moment excuse that. That was unforgivable. But 20 months on, look at the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza. And so I think it's the usual thing, the US and Israel versus the rest.